You're listening to Rodney Rogers Outdoors Radio, where we turn it upside down and look at the outside from the inside out. It's safe, it's legal, and we're having a blast. So put your shoes on, my friend, because we're going outdoors.
Welcome to Rodney Rogers Outdoors. I'm Rodney Rogers. That right there is my partner, Coach Easton Crime, the man himself, Michael the Man Coy. How are you, bud?
I'm good.
Is this the real deal?
I
are
think
we live?
So. We're fingers crossed.
Sometimes you'll throw me off.
I told you. I told you 2016 would be a new bag of tricks,
and we have a new bag of tricks.
And sometimes that comes with stumbling a time or two, but it's all good.
So if you want to participate in the show tonight, check us out. You can go to our website, RodneyRogersOutdoors.com. We have the send a voicemail clip there. You can just click on the side of that. Works with some Android devices.
Or from your PC or your Mac.
Or PC or Mac. You can hashtag us on Twitter at hashtag RROR. Mm-hmm. That will come straight to Mike. Mike will go through his microphone. It'll work through the system, and I'll get it in my headphones, and then we'll answer your question there. Or you can just call us at 262-345-7763 with any of your outdoor questions. We'll do our best to answer them honestly and truthfully. If I don't know the question, I will tell you now. We'll make up a lie, and it will sound awesome. It will sound like I know what I'm talking about.
You know, it's crazy how saying sentence backwards create backwards sentences saying how crazy it is.
It is crazy. I was going to say that same thing, but I didn't really know how. So exactly.
Glad I could help.
I'm glad you're here.
It has been a week, my friend. I have not seen you since last Tuesday night at the Gnarly Barley.
So a lot has happened since last Tuesday. I mean, we've had a fun-filled month, I'd say.
Well, I guess the question is, where do we start? Let's start with the Gnarly Barley. Let's start with a week ago. We had our 100th episode.
We had our 100th episode. Our 100th episode. The episode was absolutely awesome. Turned out fantastic. Thank you for, everybody that came out, enjoyed that night with us. We had a fantastic night. Mike, I got to give you props. You made us look absolutely beyond professional. You really pulled off an amazing
Thank you, Rodney.
setup, man. That just, I don't know if I thanked you that night, but if I didn't,
I appreciate that, and I've said it once, and I'll say it again, though. Having the talent, all I got to do is push up your microphone, put a light on you.
Right on.
The rest happens automatically. So
you
make my job easy. So thank you.
Awesome, and we had a great time. It was absolutely fabulous. I think everybody. Everything I got feedback was everybody had a phenomenal time. Way more people than I anticipated. Thank you so much for everybody that came out and enjoyed our 100th episode. And here we are on 101. We're on the start of the next 100 episodes. So that was fantastic. And then, you got anything to say about the 100 episodes? You good?
No, it was fantastic. You know what? And actually, if you go to the Rodney Rogers website, we've got, you can see the episode now on video. The video is finally up. There was some, again, we're trying new things this year. So we did have some issues that I'm working through. You were beautiful, but I'm just trying to. Moving on. It's on the website now.
It's on the website. So
you can get it on YouTube. You can go to the homepage of Rodney Rogers Outdoors. Click it, the whole video's there. And either you go to the Photos tab up top, or there's a link in that little article about last week's show. And I also, special thanks again to Stephen Schulteis and Phillips Contracting for sponsoring that. And a special thanks also to the Gnarly Barley for letting us, for hosting our show there. It was absolutely fantastic. But at the bottom of that link is a link to all the photos that her name's slipping my mind, Rodney.
Lynette.
Great photos. And the thing that really struck me about the photos, I loved seeing the audience. Because, again, my head was wrapped around trying to get the show out the door that night. But seeing the audience and the laughter and the smiles and the
yeah, she caught that whole
it's good. So
she caught
check
all
out
the
the
excitement.
photos.
Yeah, Everybody just glued to the show. It was awesome.
And if you were there and have any of your own that you took, send them over. I'd love to put them up on the website.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely send them to us. You can send it to, go to our website. You can send it to Rodney at RodneyRogersOutdoors.com. Mike,
or just paste them right on. You can upload them right to the Facebook page.
The Facebook page.
I'll just snag things off there too. That might be the easiest way for somebody, or email them to us.
That's perfect. I like that. So, and then we rolled from the 100th episode. Then we rolled right into the Crime Line Chili Cook-Off, where we do that every year with the Monsters, with Russ and Jim and Angel and Carlos. We do that every year with them. It's turned out to be such a fantastic time. We did beef chili. We didn't do our iguana that we hoped for. Just couldn't get enough iguana meat. So it takes a lot of iguanas to get 25 pounds of meat. You know what I mean?
You can never have enough iguana meat. Is that what I'm hearing here?
You can never have enough iguana meat, that's for sure. So we went beef chili. We just went old-fashioned. We did just an old, family recipe that I did, which turned out really, this is probably some of the best chili I've done since I've been doing the chili cook-off. A lot of people loved it. Dirty Jim, actually got the People's Choice. One of the police stations won, I think it was Orlando or something, or Vera. I don't know.
Really?
They actually won the overall head hog. Steve from Porky's won the professional restaurant part.
Now, did you get a chance to go around and taste the various chilies?
I tell you what, I didn't. My daughter kept bringing them up, saying whose chili it was. I did get to taste the bear chili, which was awesome.
And whose was that?
That was Russ's.
That was Russ's.
Russ's. I got to taste Jimmy's chili, which was fantastic. On a chili taste, the only reason I like mine better because I like an old fashioned chili. His is a well done chili. I mean, it's just the flavor is just absolutely amazing. I can understand why they won People's Choice. I mean, it's just a really good chili. And then I tasted like 10 others. My daughter kept bringing back, said, "Daddy, you got to try this one." And some of them I just had to spit out. I mean, they were just absolutely wretched, man. Oh my gosh, yeah, they were just horrible chilies. So, and then some were really good. I mean, we had Boo from Bubba's Bodacious Barbecue right beside us, who made a phenomenal chili. I mean, I could see where the judges would have a hard time because some of those chilies were really good. I was surprised that Russ didn't win the overall, what's it called that they do, the not weird chili, but the most unusual. It's the most unusual chili. I don't even know what won, but there was nothing there more unusual than bear chili. I can't imagine, so I don't know how. Yeah,
because usually there's 4 or 5 that are just kind of really left of center.
Right.
So nothing too oddball.
Yeah, nothing too oddball. I mean, it just, I don't even know what one.
I guess that's cool because in a way it is nice to just taste the different chilies. I remember the year Kim and I was there that was very cool to go around the different vendors and really take your time and taste them and test them and, try to figure out what chili you like better. I mean, it's really a fun event.
Well, she brought me one that says, "Daddy, you got to try this." So when she brought it over to me, I threw it in my mouth, and it was like putting just straight fire, gasoline, just right in my. I mean, it.
Did she chuckle? Because
oh yeah, I
mean, she did slip something in there.
I didn't catch on the.
You sure it was the original recipe? It didn't change on the walk back from the.
Might not have been the original recipe, Mike. You just hit it right on the head because she knows I'm a yuck for a good joke. So yeah, so we didn't get anything. A lot. You know what? Thank you for everybody that came out and just said hi. Dude, we got more fans than I'd ever imagined.
You got exactly out of it what you got in years past. Just a really good time, right?
That's what we're there for. That really is. A lot of people bought our shirts, which was, we're not selling our shirts to make money. We're selling our shirts to get out there, to get them out there. So a lot of people bought our shirts. I was really happy about that. Now I've got to buy extra large. I could have sold 15 extra large that I sold out of the extra large so fast. There are a lot of big fans out there.
Did that say something about your,
well,
your demographic?
I'm going to blame it on the Monsters because a lot of them started out as Monsters fans and kind of, we kind of grabbed onto them. So the Monsters got a big fans.
So
I'm teasing.
So
y'all not
the
big.
weather was good.
The weather was amazing. The weather turned out to be really started cool in the morning, foggy. Was fantastic. It was turned out perfect, man. I mean, sun started shining. It actually got hot in the afternoon, and
I need to get some photos up on the website. The one you sent me, because obviously, sadly enough,
yes,
I wasn't able to make it this weekend.
Right.
But the photo of all you guys in the T-shirts, or the Rodney Rogers shirts, was very cool.
You got asked about 10,000 times at least. You were truly missed. You really were. Yeah.
No, I love the bright yellow tennis shoes with the bright yellow.
Oh,
Rodney. That was a great look.
Did you see Randy?
Loved it. Yeah, that was cool.
He was definitely loud and proud that day. He loves that shirt. You know, we got another one.
It looked sporty. That bright yellow.
Actually, I kind of like that yellow.
I liked it a lot.
Yeah, I did too.
I had to look at the picture a couple of times. That's a Rodney Rogers shirt.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a very sporty. And then he topped it off with the tennis shoes. So
yeah, I definitely like the
Randy.
shirt. So I'm going to order more of those. I've got the ordered already. So the box comes to your house. So there are nothing but extra large and 2Xs. So we're gonna, for everybody listening that asked me, yes, we got extra large coming again. We sold out of them quick.
I got to admit, I'm kind of a fan of the extra large myself.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Just saying.
I'm going to have to be if I keep this up. I've got to change something.
So let me ask you this, Rodney. I'm keeping...
Yes.
Man, that show went quick last week, and
I
this
know.
one is too. It just shows how much time flies.
Oh, yeah.
You know, do you realize in 4 years from now, 30 years ago will be the 90s?
No, I didn't realize that. But when you put it in that perspective...
Because the 90s doesn't seem that far ago.
No, yeah, exactly.
It's almost 30 years ago.
You know what? And every time someone says, I bought a car, it's 2001, I go, that's almost new, isn't it? No, that thing is almost 15 years old.
Exactly right.
I'm like, holy moly.
So let me ask you this, and this, if this is premature, just give me the sign.
Okay, Ixnay on the...
Yeah. You mentioned you sent me a link. I haven't done anything with it online yet, but something that you're going to start doing again
Yes,
this year.
it's not premature.
I'm very excited about this.
As of Sunday, we're going to start our pre-fish. We are going to go...
this Sunday?
This Sunday will be pre-fishing, which means we're just going to go fish the tournament area that we're going to be fishing. My brother-in-law, Tommy,
Which is where?
Which is in the chain of lakes in Winter Haven chain of lakes.
Okay.
Yeah, my brother-in-law bought a bass boat. And you know what's funny is I fished the tournament trail, the Fishers of Men tournament trail for, I did for 3, 4, 5 years. It popped up 5 years ago today. It popped up that day I fished the tournament in the snow. And I went, man, that was really cool. So I reposted that. And then my brother-in-law said, man, that's really cool. And then I got thinking, wait a minute, my brother-in-law has a bass boat now. So I said, hey, man, you want to do some tournament fishing? Because he said, I love tournament fishing. I'm like, let's do this. So him and I he put some new depth finders on his boat. We went out and tested them out. We just rode around on his boat. He's got a Skeeter. So we're gonna try it again.
Got a Skeeter. That's a boat, I'm assuming.
He's got a Skeeter bass boat.
Very cool.
So man, we're gonna give it the old college try again. I'm excited because I love tournament fishing. To me, it's just I love that competitive, that putting you to the test. It's just it's what I love.
Well, I still haven't wrapped my head around it, so this is going to be fascinating for me. I know that I don't really know how close I can get to the action or anything, but
you'll be able to get super close, and we can get special permissions to have a cameraman in the boat
because that'd be phenomenal.
Yeah,
I'm intrigued by the whole process.
Absolutely,
and I know zero about it, so this is a whole new.
So basically, you'll do a captain's meetings the night before. You'll be there to ramp the morning of. There's usually 30, 40, 50 boats out there. It's just the excitement starts to uproar then.
It's kind of cool.
And then you shoot to your holes, and then man, it's just it's exhilarating. I love tournament fishing.
Very cool.
I really do. So we're going to see what we can do this year.
Okay.
We got 5 to do. So
5 to do in 2016.
2016. The last tournament will be in April. So it's January, February, March, April, May. Yeah, May. I'm sorry.
Okay.
May will be
so
the
one
last.
a month up and through May.
Right. And
that's
then
very cool.
The payout of these is up to $3,000-$4,000.
Well, we'll see if we can find a special section of the website to kind of dedicate to the
that'd be
progress
awesome.
of that or
Yeah.
something. Because I'm very intrigued for that. Let's move on.
Let's do it.
Todd, I got your message on Twitter, so give me a Twitter thumbs up or thumbs down if things are sounding better. Top stories. What do you got? You got anything?
Go ahead with yours. I don't.
Well, I've got them.
Lay it on me.
I've got them. Crab season. St. John's River Blue Crab Trap closure starts January 16th, which is 4 days from now. Just like to keep people abreast. Now, did you do the blue crab in the St. John's?
No. Here's I want to. Blue crab. You really need to watch those dates. Not only watch the dates, but watch the counties that you're in. That's a very finicky thing to fish for because now the laws are just really, really fickle. That's what I want to say.
Okay.
I mean, because, it stops in this county. It's odd days on this county. It's even days on this county. So I won't even try to explain it. You have to read it, look at where you're at, and then look at the regulations for your area. So that's the easiest way to explain that. So no, not in the St. John's. I've never trapped him. But that's a tough one.
That's good. Yeah, traps in the water must must be. I've got so much going on over here, Rodney.
I know. I see that, man. We're gonna.
You press on, but people are. I'm actually getting pictures here. I wish.
Oh, cool.
Eventually, we'll be able to take those and put them right on the screen. But I got a photo of looks like you and maybe Dirty Jim from the. Okay.
Okay. Cool. From the chili cook-off.
Yeah. So, anyways, thanks for the update, Todd. I'll see what I can do. Traps must be removed before January 16th, the first day of a 10-day trap closure. The closure will give groups authorized by the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation the opportunity to identify and retrieve lost and abandoned blue crab traps from the water.
And that's the key. There's specific regulations on these crab traps. They have to have wooden doors on them that can rot away so they don't keep trapping crabs. So look at the regulations. The stone crab traps are the same way. So check those regulations in the area you're in, and that way you don't get in a pickle because that can really get you in a pickle.
Now, a couple things about your pickle, Rodney.
Mm-hmm.
Python hunting.
Yes.
Again.
Yes.
Now, again, there's an awareness festival coming up here in January, again on the January 16th. This is in Miami, so if you're in South Florida, you can go to the FWC website and see where that's at. But they're all giving people awareness and instructions for to ramp up for the upcoming Python challenge. Right. So they're scattered throughout the states, and there's another one. There's one in January. There's a couple in February. But you had some interesting insight.
Yeah, I did, and I kind of. Here's the deal: we do this every year. They've done it. This year they kind of changed the game on us a little bit. Before you could pay $25 and then you could just go down there and do your thing. Now, if you take a team, more than now it's $75 for a team, $25, and then the rules have changed a bit. So they've added the dollar amount. So to me, it's not worth it anymore. No, hold on. I don't want to say it's not worth it. It's just, I don't agree with how they're doing it.
Because the thrill of what it is still the same.
Yes, the thrill of what it is still the same.
But is it because it just taints it a little bit? Does it just feel different?
It does. It does to me. Because, obviously they're paying out the winnings, but they're also there's a gain in this. And to me, the first year you just went out and did it. There was no challenge. You know what I mean? You just went out. You had a hunting license, and you. So
do you think by packaging it, putting cool logos on a T-shirt, giving people admission cost to, get the cup holder? I mean, is that what you're feeling? That it's making it more commercial for the revenue portion of it?
That's exactly
when maybe
what
on the other end, there's not as much gain for.
Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe it's allowed. It's coming up to the. We're going to bring awareness. But if you're going to bring awareness, don't charge more than what you did the year before, even the year before that, when it was nothing.
Well, and the bottom line is the bottom line purpose of this is to remove
the snake.
The snakes.
Yeah. So I don't. it is a challenge.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of a tournament.
Yeah.
So I understand there has to be some kind of input in order to get, the bonus money out. So
is there cash prizes?
Oh yeah, there's cash prizes. So they're pretty stealthy cash prizes.
And there are snakes.
Yeah, there are definitely snakes.
I mean, they're definitely down there. I wonder would you feel different if you were a South Florida resident?
Probably. Honestly, that's
where it might be a little more available.
Right. Yes.
I mean,
I think that's the key.
I mean, Miami is only 4 hours away, but it's far enough that we still feel like we're on the outside looking in a little bit, where people live with us down there.
And it's a week long, and it's I can't remember. I'm drawing a blank on it right now. It's a month long. I'm sorry, it's a month long, and I mean those people, the ones that live there are the ones that benefit the most of it. For us that I just wanted to go down, be a part of it. I knew chances of us winning this thing is
you're right. The Python Challenge kicks off noon January 16th. Well, that's interesting because that's everything's happening on January 16th.
Yeah. You got the face.
Yeah, because this festival thing they're doing, this awareness thing, is on January 16th. And the season actually kicks off on January 16th.
Right.
And ends at 7 p.m. on Valentine's Day, February 14th. So, just a month long.
Yeah, so it's just right at a month long.
So a month from now we'll have another year of stats.
That doesn't mean we can't go down there and catch pythons. They would encourage that, but we're just not part of the Python Challenge. Now, I can do it by myself.
Okay.
My thing was...
So if you just want the thrill of going to Python... Now, what license is this?
This is no license, invasive species.
Okay.
So you don't need a license to do it. They give you a permit to catch these snakes, and then you have to take a 30-minute class that we did before. But even though we've taken it before, we still have to take it again. I don't like that. I think if you've taken it once, you should be exempt from it. But hey, you know what?
Sure.
We'll take the class. But my thinking was I could take one guy down with me, but then you're into $75 now.
Sure.
Or that guy could pay for himself, and then so I don't know. There's a plan there that they know. Maybe it's over my head, so I just said, to heck with it. I won't do it. How's that?
Well, I'll tell you what, Rodney.
Way to handle that.
Before we move on, we got a really cool topic I'm interested in tonight. But let's take a break.
Let's do it.
Give some sponsors some. I lost the word I was looking for there, Rodney, but you know what I'm saying, right?
I know what
Don't
you're
you,
saying.
Rodney? You know what I'm saying, right? Right?
I do, man. Oh, you got your button?
Nope, I don't know.
Oh, well, you know what's funny is...
What? Tell me.
You usually keep it over there.
Oh, I know.
Yeah,
this is all backwards now. And I'm going to blame it on you that it's your fault.
With 116,000 foreclosures in the state of Florida alone as of January 2014, a quality contractor is critical to the process of returning a foreclosed house back into a home. Let me introduce you to Phillips Contracting Incorporated. They are Florida State certified and an approved REO repair vendor for both Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. PCI currently provides multi-level services to realtors, banks, asset managers, and private homeowners. Although they specialize in dealing with REO property repairs, they are a design-build company.
Here at PCI, we pride ourselves on professional, high-quality work. Our clients know that we're not your typical contractor. We're proud to be reliable, trustworthy partners with you. Our repair coordinators are ready to communicate with you honestly and quickly about every aspect of your project. We're here to say yes to our clients.
Phillips Contracting services Florida from Orlando to Miami. Whether you're looking for a quote, repair updates, or just want to talk business, give them a call at 941-483-3800.
Gnarly barley, come see why the whole world's singing.
What are you doing?
Dude, I am writing a song for Gnarly Barley.
I see that, but first of all, I didn't realize you could sing. Second of all, why don't you just tell the people how great the Gnarly Barley is, give them the address, and move on with the show?
Dude, have you ever had their flatbread? Their jalapeno flatbread with the cream cheese on top and the chicken and the special sauce on it. Holy moly. No, wait a minute. Obviously, by the look on your face, you ain't never had that big-time fiesta. Jalapenos, provolone cheese, tomatoes, red onions, and again, Fiesta Lime
Okay,
Ranch.
that's it. Shut up, Chubb. We're out of here.
Are you serious?
Come on, we're out of here.
Truly one of Orlando's hidden gems, the Gnarly Barley offers a contemporary selection of bites and brews, serving a mind-blowing selection of craft beers and original mouth-watering menu creations. The Gnarly Barley and its incredibly accommodating staff have created a place that really is difficult to put into words. So do yourself a huge favor and come see why people are singing the praises of the Gnarly Barley.
Oh, my goodness.
I told you that big time Fiesta.
That is phenomenal. I totally get why you're trying to write a song for that.
Not as simple as you thought, huh?
No. Okay, check this out. Gnarly Barley. Come see why the whole town's singing Gnarly Barley. Buy some brews.
Located at 7431 South Orange Avenue in Orlando.
So, pow, here we are back at it. So we're going to jump right into our topic tonight, or kind of give you a hint. We're going to jump right in.
Something about the weather.
So, Mike, tonight, I forgot to post on Facebook to draw up some questions. So tonight we're going to be talking about weather, how weather affects wildlife in general. Now, we're going to go through the whole spiel. We're going to be talking about, the fish and every facet that we can about the fish, and then, of course, deer and turkeys and hogs and elk migrations. I mean, everything depends on how this weather, everything depends on how this weather rolls in. Prime example is duck season. We've had a late duck season because it's been unusually warm up in the north. So the ducks migrate.
That makes sense.
Upon temperature. So, as it gets colder, they know to push farther south.
Yep.
So the fact that we've had this warm weather a little longer than normal has kept the ducks up north. So, the duck hunters in the south, just reading the Ducks Unlimited reports of where they're at and how they're flying, and, they're flying poor. We've not really had this migration. Now it's starting to get a lot colder up there. Now they're migrating. And here it is at the end of the season. So it's
and actually ends when?
Actually ends the 31st. So it ends the 31st of January. So here we are. We're finally getting this migration, and that still won't be here for another week or two toward the end of the season, which is normally the bad time to hunt, is now going to be a great time to hunt, but season will be over. So that's what I'm talking about. So the elk herd has the same problem right now. They're up in the mountains. So hunters, the seasons all depend on weather. It's one of the reasons why, seasons are the way they're set up.
Sure.
So as the snow starts to come in, the migration knows, okay, it's time for us to migrate. And here's the problem. Here's what can happen. The fact that we've had this warm weather for so long has kept the elk up in the mountains in this migration, for an unusually long time, almost 2 months past their migration. Tomorrow it could snow 5 feet, and they don't have time to migrate. You see where that affects them?
Yeah.
So now they don't have time to migrate, and then now you have herds and thousands of elk trapped in the mountains in 3 feet of snow that's happened overnight. So that's, I don't know if you saw the news where an elk went through the window. I was going to talk about it on Top Stories last week, where an elk had crashed through a window. That's
a house or a car window?
In a house.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's like a basement window.
Oh, because it
got covered with
way.
snow, and they were migrating, and then they were they pushed down real fast, fell right through the window, right into the guy's house, into their basement. So they hear this big crash. They thought they had a burglar. And next thing you know, they got this.
Wow. There. Now you got a problem you need to solve.
Now you got an elk in the house. So they called the FWC. Not the FWC, but where they're at, they're Marine or not Marine.
Could do some serious damage by the time the FWC gets there.
Luckily, what they did is they actually lined up their mattresses and made a path right up the stairs and right out the front door. So they tried a couple times. This thing wouldn't do it. So it did tear up some stuff. And, you know, the Marine Patrol, now we're getting a call.
Incoming, Rodney. You feel like talking to somebody?
I do.
You mean to tell them to go away?
No, this is a good call. Thank you for calling Rodney Rogers Outdoors. This is Rodney.
Hey, Rodney. Hey, this is Bill Hall.
Bill Hall, how are you?
Good. I was watching your show here, and it says offline.
Yeah, we just kind of went offline. You know,
It's a technical thing, but this will go on the air. We're still recording.
Everything will go out. But while I have you, let me explain to Mike who we have on the phone here. This is William Culliver Hall. This is the book that we've been talking about, and I've been reading, Florida Boy. This is the author of the book Florida Boy.
Okay, you got my attention.
Now I got your attention. So I had actually spoke to Mr. Hall a couple of weeks ago and asked him if he would call into our show because, you know, Mike, like, you know me, anything about Florida, I'm all about it. Now, Bill has written 3 books so far. He's written The Trouble with Panthers. Bill, you correct me if I'm wrong. I've read them all 3. The Florida Boy, and then the last one is escaping me, and I'm gonna kick myself in the nose. September Fawn, exactly. And I had so many questions that I wanted to ask that I hadn't get. So anyway, Bill, thank you for calling.
Yeah,
welcome to the show. Now, you were born in Florida, correct?
Yes. I was born in Lakeland.
Lakeland, that's a Polk County boy like me. We're Polk County boys. So, Bill, what gave you this inspiration? I mean, did you just kind of you just became a writer? How did it all transpire?
Yeah, I started out writing for South Carolina Game and Fish.
Oh, okay.
I wrote some of the back pages for North American Whitetail also, just to see if I could sell them.
Right.
And after I'd sold a few, I decided to try a novel. 2003, I wrote September's Fawn, and it seemed to do pretty good, so I kept at it.
Now, September's Fawn takes place in the Steinhatchee area, the Dixie County. And if you've ever been to Steinhatchee, which I have many times over the years, reading the book, you know, and been in the area kind of gives you that home feeling. You know, like, hey, I've been here. I know where he's talking about.
Now, these are novels based on true stories?
No.
Or just
September's Fawn, I went to Horseshoe Beach, which is right on the Gulf, just north of Swanee. And I went there when I was 16, and it made an impression on me, and so I was looking for the most remote place I could find or think of in the state of Florida, and that's where I decided to set that story. Even to this day, I think the total population of that county is less than 50,000 people.
Yeah,
wow.
I mean it's absolutely it's remote. I mean, if you've ever been there, it's beautiful. You've got the swamps. That book is the first one I read, and it was definitely had me from the get go.
And the most recent one is which one?
The Florida Boy.
Florida Boy. Tell me about that one.
Yeah. Well, Florida Boy just came out this past September. The Florida Historical Society published it, and it is a prequel to The Trouble with Panthers, which came out in 2010. The Trouble with Panthers won the 2010 Florida Book Awards for popular fiction, And
amazing.
it's a story of a cattle family. Ranch is situated on the shore of Lake Kissimmee in the Three Lakes area, if
Yes.
you're familiar with
Oh, yeah.
Three Lakes Wildlife Management
Hunted
Area.
it all my life.
Yeah, I used to years ago. But the trouble with panthers is about a family named Rollerson. And Florida Boy is 100 years prior to the Trouble with Panthers, which was set in 2004. Florida Boy starts out about 1898, and it's how the family came to own the 8,000-acre ranch.
Yeah, certainly intriguing. You know what's funny is I read, obviously I read The Trouble with Panthers first, and when I read this book, it literally put it in place for me, and I knew where it was, where it was going, and I'll tell you, I was just absolutely. I told you once I get glued to a book, and I am not a book guy. Sad, magazines and stuff like this, but I know when I read the September's Fawn, and then I read, The Trouble with Panthers, the first thing I asked our buddy Manny was, because Bill lives across the street from Manny's parents.
Okay.
And the first thing I asked is, does he have any more books? And he goes, no, man. And I'm like, oh,
that's it.
He just had me, and I'm like, oh,
You read too fast. He just put this one out in September, Rodney.
Exactly. And then he goes, he goes, well, there's other books out there like that. And I said, no, that's not what I want, so.
So are these available on Amazon?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. All three of them are available on the same site on Amazon. They're also available digitally.
Oh, okay.
Kindle.
Okay.
Nook. But you asked me some questions.
No, I'm sorry. I'm just flabbergasted here. So the Trouble with Panthers. Now, when that took place, what brought that story about? Were you just bringing the Kissimmee area in? Because I know you brought in the area of Steenahatchee and the Dixie County area. I mean, what brought this area in? Was it? I mean, are you a big Kissimmee guy? I mean, a fan, or you the?
No, I'm just a Florida fan.
Right on, man. That's what I love hearing.
The people at the Historical Society, they've hinted that they'd like me to write a book that takes place or covers the era between Florida Boy and the Trouble with Panthers.
Okay.
And now I've just got to come up with a story.
Well, there you go, Rodney. There's something.
Now I got something to look forward to. So I noticed
it'll probably take a couple of years.
I'm gonna be sitting.
Is
on
that
the
about the average for writing a novel like that?
It is for me because it's something I do, on the side.
Gotcha.
And I guess I'm slow. It takes a while.
Now, just to give Mike just kind of the Florida Boy kind of takes place at present. It starts out in Fort Pierce.
Okay.
Now I fish Fort Pierce.
Right.
That's that inlet there is where we do all of our offshore fishing. 90% of our offshore fishing. So this book grabbed me because, like I said, they're real areas with a fiction story. So if you're familiar with the state of Florida at all, I mean, any of these areas,
you can instantly put a scene into your brain.
Absolutely.
You've been,
yeah. You've been there, you've done that, and you can actually see this. And that's what grabbed me because I've been to Dixie County. I do a lot of stuff. Steenahatchee, that whole area up there. Of course, the whole Three Lakes, the Yeehaw Junction area, and that's what grabbed me of the Trouble with Panthers,
sure.
and every one of these books made me cry. I'm not gonna lie, I boo-hooed like a baby.
Now, let me ask you this, and don't take this wrong, but why is that? I mean, because I'm interested in what part of the. Is it because they're emotional tales? Are they love affairs? A
little bit of all, actually. They they really grab you by the seat of the pants, and you actually feel connected to the family, the trials, the tribulations.
That's great.
The hard times they go through, you actually connect to that. You're like, and then, when it's all built up and then, and wham, something comes out of left field. I'm not going to give this thing away.
No, that's good. Okay. Like I say, you got my attention.
You've got to read this book.
Now, are you obviously an outdoorsman, a fisherman, hunting? What's your thing?
Well, I used to do a lot of fishing, but I haven't recently. But I do hunt.
Okay.
Deer and turkeys mostly.
Yeah. And
yeah, I don't miss deer season or spring gobbler.
How I could tell. I hadn't talked to you at the time, but when I read these books, I said this guy is a hunter, because the details of especially the Florida boy and the trouble with Panthers, the details in the hunt just absolutely put you in your you're there. You're there at night. You're there with the cold. You're there with the, So, I mean, and I knew right then. I said, this guy's definitely a hunter, because it's the only way you could explain this in that kind of detail, and know every drop. So, Bill, man, I just
there's not much in there that I haven't done.
Right on. So, Bill, I just want to say thank you for calling, man. And it's absolutely a treat for us and an honor to have you on our show, because I absolutely love your novels. We're going to put.
Well, thank you, Rodney.
We're going to put obviously pictures up on our website of.
Yeah, is it cool if we put a link off the homepage to the Amazon site there, Bill?
Sure.
Okay, good.
Yeah, that'd be great.
That's great.
And we're going to be pushing your book for a while, and we have another author that we enjoy is Peter Updike is another good friend of ours. I met him at a hunting show, and I think I read his book in about 3 days.
Hey, Bill, let me ask you this then. You've got 3 out, and one's a prequel. If somebody like myself starting fresh out of the gate, should I read them in sequence, or is the first one kind of removed from the second 2?
Actually, you could read either one first.
Okay.
Yeah.
They stand alone.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
It might actually be better to read The Trouble with Panthers first, because that's most people have done. But you don't have to.
Yeah, I would agree, because then it'll become familiar. If you read The Trouble with Panthers first and then Florida Boy, it kind of helps piece it together.
Good.
It sounds weird, but it really does.
No, that's the guidance I was looking for, because
yeah,
I'll put these up and click on the links myself. So
yeah, and of course September's Fawn. I mean, that one definitely intrigued me from the beginning. So that was the first one I read, and that was the first one that grabbed me by the seat of the pants. So
good. Well, thank you, Rodney, and I appreciate the promotion.
Bill, thank you so much. And of course, this show will pop up on iTunes and YouTube, and everything's being recorded perfectly, even though we lost our live feed. The live feed for us is kind of our candy.
Yeah, it's a great. It's a nice way to get engagement with.
Yeah,
we get the Twitter feed and live questions and like that, but we can still take calls. And...
Yeah,
I have ordered all 3 of these.
I enjoyed talking to you.
Thank you so much, Bill.
Thank you, Bill.
Have an awesome night.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And that was the books I was reading. That cool. Was actually a pleasant call.
Because you were telling me about that, how the fact that you could picture in your mind, because he's describing places, real places. It's a novel and it's fiction.
Exactly.
But in the surroundings that we're quite familiar with.
You know what I found intriguing is you knew the areas, so it didn't seem like fiction. Does that make sense?
Yeah, exactly.
You're like, well, this is a true story, so but it's not. It is fiction. When you read them,
I'm anxious
understand.
to get my hands on them.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I got them coming. So
very cool. I'll put links on there.
So, man, that just
back to the weather. We could finish up on the weather. We talked about late duck season. We talked about the elk falling through the glass into the family.
Yeah. So we left off with the elk fall. So they pushed the elk out. So basically, that's what I'm saying is how it affects this late weather is pushing all the animals in a different direction. And fish are no different. So one of the examples I wanted to use was fish kind of move temperature. They're cold-blooded animals. There's only one fish in the ocean that we know of that kind of is somewhat warm-blooded, and that's a bluefin tuna. They can move certain muscles around their internal organs to produce just enough warmth to keep them in colder waters.
Okay.
A lot of people don't know that. So it's important that, the temperatures are their body temperature are regulated, and bluefins are, they have over the years have found a way to do it.
It's bizarre.
So I was fishing the other day, and I'm fishing a bass bed, and temperature sets when they bed. They normally bed in the spring.
Sure.
They normally bed at 65 degrees when water temperature reaches anywhere from 60 to 65 degrees. So I see this bass on, I start seeing beds, but they're very few and sparse. So that, this is the time of the year where it's really rocky for bass. I mean, they go into that spawning mode at that temperature, but when the temperature don't change as quick as it normally does, then they'll start spawning. They just don't know. But what happens is as we get this cold snap in the 40s, what pushes them right off the bed, because in a fish's world, and this is all fish, they find that what's called the thermocline, which is the right temperature, the optimum temperature.
Because they can adjust their depth until they find...
Exactly. That they just adjust depth until they find the temperatures that they want, they need. Not necessarily want, but they need, which is almost the warmest area. So that's why, fishing in these times of years, the coldest times and the hottest times is so important. A lot of fishermen fish the bank thinking, well, that's where fish always are. Sure. Well, it's not, because that's the first area the temperature changes. So while at one point it is optimal. Because
it's shallow, so it doesn't maintain its temperature as consistently.
Man, you are on this.
My brain's clicking here, Rodney. I'm trying to follow the bouncing ball here. Okay.
So, and that's why weather is so important. And offshore, you have that same effect. So let's just say for a fact a hurricane comes in, and you're fishing before or after the hurricane. The ideal is to fish before, way before, because a hurricane can churn the water up to 300, 350 feet, which allows the salinity of the water to change.
You mean the depth, 350 feet
Exactly.
deep. Wow.
350 feet deep. And what happens is most of the low salinity water stays at the top if the ocean is nice and just average, 2 to 3 foot waves, just an average day. Sometimes it'll be that way for months. So the fresh water, the low salinity water will stay closer to the top. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
The saltier water, the higher salinity water, will stay at the bottom. Well, as a hurricane comes through, it actually churns this water up to a depth of 350 feet. So it can actually kill fish. It actually does. It reduces the reefs by up to 20-30%.
Wow.
Because it's so deep, it pushes all the loose, corals and the loose, away from the bottom, away from rocks, and away from, and then it puts that fresh water, that low salinity water, right against the coral.
Well, I would also think that it would. I'm guessing certain fish, based on that salinity level, have found their comfort zone or their aptitude wherever, and churning that up messes that whole cycle up as well.
That's
right?
Exactly right, and that's why in some hurricanes there's big fish kills. Not long after there's huge fish kills because remember, the water at 350 feet deep can be as much as 40 degrees cooler in certain areas than water up at the top.
Okay.
So as a hurricane comes through, you can actually see by satellite imagery. You can actually see the infrared, the hot water ahead, and then as the hurricane goes by, the cold water behind it. So that can just really totally, destroy your fishery.
Yeah.
Sure. And that's where the fish kills come from. They go from, 70, 80 degree water, and of course, the hotter the water, the larger the hurricane. Plam, down to 65 degrees, and a change that fast, some fish just don't adjust well. So, whether, a lot of people think, well, it's just better to fish before or after. it's just hard to say because you really don't know how that pattern's going to affect.
You don't know what's going on under what you can't see.
That's exactly right. Studies have shown that sharks can detect hurricanes up to 7 days before the hurricane ever strikes a coast. And how that was found out is they started tagging young baby sharks in nurseries. Tampa Bay, for instance, they were tagging bull sharks, bonnet heads, lemon sharks, just baby sharks because it's a nursery. And they were tracking them, and then next thing you know, we have a hurricane come in, and they all go to deep water. They push out of these estuaries and run to deep water, wait for the hurricane to pass, and then they move right back. So it's weather effects, and I think one of the things I want to drive home is if you're going to fish, you're going to hunt. Actually, if you're going to be in the outdoors, obviously, if you're going to be on land and you're going to camp or something, whether you want to watch that. But primarily, if you're fishing or hunting, barometric pressure makes all the difference in the world, especially if you're fishing. More so if you're fishing than you are hunting. And then, of course, cooler temperatures or otherwise.
Temperature or barometric pressure, which one weighs heavier?
Great question. In the fishing world, it'd be barometric pressure. Temperature comes at a slow enough rate that fish can move where they need to move.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But barometric pressure can change overnight. And barometric pressure has an effect on the microplankton that is in oceans and lakes. It can settle it to the bottom or it can move it to the top. So I would say in those two, the barometric pressure has the largest effect. So if you're going to watch anything first, watch the barometric pressure. Do your studies, and if you're fishing, chart what you can. I mean, if you're going
I wonder if barometric pressure has a more significant increase underneath the water.
The deeper, yeah, absolutely.
Because of, 33 feet's an atmosphere and so on and so on. So I wonder if, 100 feet down, if even a smaller change in barometric pressure is significantly increased, logarithmically increased as you get closer to the bottom or deeper in the water.
Well, picture this. We have a plane, which is, let's just say, the surface of the ocean. Everything above that is barometric pressure. So when that changes, the only place it can push is on the water itself. Well, that water table is affected all the way to the base, all the way to the bottom.
Sure.
So it pushes, it actually becomes heavier. Now, what that measurement is way beyond anything, I'm just kind of scratching the surface.
And I'm just thinking theoretically, you know what I mean? Because what messes with our ears a little bit probably messes with the fish ears a lot.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly right. And,
sarcastic, but I mean the principles.
Yeah,
are the same,
and no one knows exactly. They just know that they are affected from the surface to 3,000 feet. So, if it happens up here, it happens down here,
Yeah.
and everything in between. So fish are certainly more affected by barometric pressure than, say, you and I or the elk or anything of that nature.
Sure.
But on the surface and above, the mountain, temperature would be your biggest factor. Temperature is what decides when migration starts or, when we hunt. Our seasons are based on it.
Well, I think animals are so instinctual. I mean, even as human beings, the pressure changes, and whether we're conscious of it or not, or we acknowledge the headache, we're getting to an incoming front or pressure zone. I mean, fish or animals in general are instinctual and react, almost instantaneously to those pressures and those sensors that their body's built on.
Absolutely.
I
think over time, humans have lost that adaptation.
Well, because this is taken over.
Exactly. Exactly. Because
don't you think?
I agree. Yeah, I think if anything, science has while we have escalated in certain areas, we've certainly downgraded our senses.
Yeah.
On those.
I think you become a mountain man and go out in the wilderness for 10 years. You'll get back more familiar with some of those things.
Yeah, but I really don't want it back that bad.
Yeah, I guess.
I'll just rely on science. I mean, we're here. We got it. We might as well keep it.
It's a really interesting discussion and even more deeper study, I'm sure. But it's incredibly fascinating to think about that, how the weather affects these things.
I'll tell you what. As of we'll kind of continue this. We say we continue this. Obviously,
We'll do a part 2.
Yeah, we'll do a part 2 next week because there's so many more in-depth things I just kind of wanted to hit on. That we had an awesome call, so I'm absolutely, I'd take the call any day.
Me too, buddy.
We can always do,
absolutely,
like you said, part 2. But when you get those calls like that, you just gotta suck them up when you can. But it's important. My key is, my goal for the year is obviously, which you'll be happy. I built a file. I put a photo album. I started 216 fish. All the fish I'm going to catch in 2016.
Species?
No, yeah, it's going to be all species.
Okay.
I mean, it's just going to be. Actually, I could probably do one bass, one, because we're going to be offshore again. I'm just kind of keeping track of all, and I'm actually logging temperatures, and basically I'm going a little more in depth to kind of do my own,
do your own study,
in-depth research, scientific study for the year, and then we'll kind of see. And that's why I was kind of hitting on the weather on this first show, where we get out of our our happy time, and then we'll carry that on, and we'll talk about what I'm learning along the way that may help, that may help you out, and you won't have to do the research. Here's what I'm learning. My research. I've been wanting to do this for years, and I figured now's as good a time as any. We'll carry that on. Of course, we're going to have fun along the way. We always do. And I'm going to get to learn something, and getting back into tournament fishing is certainly going to help me out. I mean, this is definitely it was kind of ironic. I wanted to do this. I started it, and then I'm getting into tournament fishing again, so it's like it's going to be one of the two.
It's all melding together.
It's going to meld together.
I'm excited about the tournament fishing.
Things happen.
Who else I want? I want to do a shout out because I want you to maybe contact her this week. Our Amy Lynn.
Amy Lynn, yes.
Because I was really hoping we'd see her at the
100th show. Yeah.
Just because I think it's very intriguing, the fact, and she's went through the seasons.
Yes.
I mean, maybe next week.
Oh.
She's been through. She wanted to catch a bass every day or 365 bass in a year.
Yep. And after the 2 years, she caught 400 this year.
I know, that's crazy. So she's caught them through every season throughout the year.
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm sure it ebbed and flowed, but she'd be an interesting one to talk to. Maybe we'll get her on the line a little next week.
I'll put the call. I'll put the
just
the
get an
bug
update
out.
on her 2015 fishing season. Maybe she can put her 2 cents in on what was
That's actually
when they
a
were
great
biting
idea.
strong, when they were biting weak.
Absolutely. That'd be
Just
a
a thought.
phenomenal idea. So, Mike, here we are back again. I mean, it's 1 hour is just never enough.
I know, but I enjoy every minute of the 60 minutes that goes by here.
It's our super duper 1 hour vacation.
I love it, dude.
So, again, I want to remind everybody that we have iTunes.
Yep.
We have YouTube.
Yep.
We have our Instagram. We have our Facebook. We have our
Periscope. We've got Twitter.
We have Twitter.
Most importantly, we have Rodney Rogers Outdoors. If you go there, left-hand side, links to all the stuff.
Most importantly.
Rodney just mentioned, and
it's all right there. And again, I want to mention that you can see the video from the 100th episode. You can see we have the video of the week is actually us fishing with Brian Pounds.
yeah.
That's still up there, so that's awesome. You know what? Just real quick, did we already talk about the lure that I used to catch the bass on? Oh, yeah, we did. We kind of talked about that on the 100th show. My son and I made a lure, and I caught a nice bass on it. So I get to retire that lure now because it kind of fell apart on me. I put the video up on our website.
Oh, yeah, you did. Yeah.
So, yeah, I just want to and thank you for everybody that came out and saw us at the chili cook-off.
Mm-hmm.
I can't thank you enough. We have had a great year, and it's only going to get better. It really is. That's the way I see it.
I love it, man. We cruised through tonight. We didn't do viewer mail. We'll get to those next week. So
right on.
Next week's already stacking up, but maybe we can get Amy on here. Like I say, who knows? If I will be here. But I might be actually $1.5 billion richer next week.
Oh, I will tell you.
It's the week.
I'll be here.
Okay. I'll be here.
It'd be a 5 hours.
It'll look different. You'll have we'll have a whole crew here doing this stuff.
Yeah. Matter of fact, we'll have someone talking for us that say that
There'll be a new wing
microphones.
on the house with a whole studio built in it, like 1.5 billion.
Can't even fathom the money, Mike.
I love it, man.
Yeah, me too. Are y'all done?
I'm done, man.
Me too, man.
Let's get us out of here.
As my mama said 18 million times, and I pray I get to say it half as much, you kids get outside and stay.